Hi, I'm Thad McIlroy, and with me is my co-host Peter Brantley, and we would both like to welcome you to our conference, Artificial Intelligence, Revolution and Opportunity in Trade Publishing. First, we'll introduce ourselves. Oh, I got, oh, I've got, sorry about that. I could hear myself on the other speaker, which we were warned to shut off before the event. So I'm Thad McIlroy, and I've been working in publishing for quite a long time, mostly at the intersection of technology and publishing. That's been my focus. I've worked with a lot of publishing companies over the years, a lot of authors, and more recently have joined Publishers Weekly as a contributing editor with a focus on publishing innovation, on book publishing startups, and more recently on artificial intelligence. And the wonderful thing about being a contributing editor to PW is working with the people there, but also having the opportunity to be able to call people up and say, tell me what it is you do, tell me more. And that's been a wonderful opportunity in learning about AI and talking about AI and building this conference. Peter?
Hi, everyone. I'm Peter Brantley, and I'm the Director of Online Strategy at the UC Davis Library in California. And I'm very pleased to be with you, and I'm really grateful that you've joined us for today's conference. My background is a mix of academic research libraries and startups and publishing. I used to run with O'Reilly, the Internet Archive, and then the Frankfurt Book Fair, a small conference called Books and Browsers, which investigated the edge of technology and publishing. And recently, last year, we stood up a new conference with friends called Page Break, which carries on in the same theme. Not running this year, but we hope to be back this coming year with a new forum. And of course, there'll be a focus on AI. So we look forward to hearing from you today and being able to share with you some of the thoughts of our speakers. That?
I wanted to start off by an important task, which is thanking our sponsors, all of whom made this possible. Let me mention them in alphabetical order. There's Book Advisors, Book Blaster, Bookwire, Integra, K&K, LexPage, Page Magic, Positron, and VerduSales. Thank you, all of you, for being part of the event today. We'll be talking more about them at the end of the event. Now, you can learn more about them today or later because your registration lasts for 30 days. There's the Expo tab that you'll see on the left-hand side of your screen. Go in there and you can learn about the sponsors. And don't forget, also on the home screen, there's the AI bookshelf, where we've got a really interesting assortment of titles, some published, some upcoming, some good books on AI. Peter and I have been working on this conference since April. It's given us about 5 months to try and find the best speakers we could possibly find to join us today. And I think we've got a great group. The task was to get folks who are working in the trenches versus theorists or vendors serving the industry. So it took a while to find people who were either A, working at it, or B, willing to talk about what they're doing, but a fantastic group. We've now got 19 speakers, 8 sessions in the 4.5 hour program today, including wonderful opening remarks from Marcus Doyle, who you'll hear from next, and then from Ethan Mollick much later in the program, a fantastic enthusiast and educator around artificial intelligence. Peter and I each wanted to share with you a few of our own thoughts about AI and where it's coming from, where it's headed. The conference today is focused on trade publishing per se, because that's PW's audience. So that is very much the core messaging along the way, is from trade publishing focus. We also, though, feel that the conference is inclusive of scholarly publishing. 3 of our speakers have backgrounds in that field specifically. So I think anyone in scholarly publishing will find that interesting. We've also made a really strong effort to put this from the author's perspective. There's an author panel. I know a lot of agents are in the audience today, as well as a lot of authors. So I think you'll find much of value to you, both in terms of the content of the program and just more broadly what publishers are doing, and all of you are working with publishers. The way we've structured it is around the publishing workflow. That's the sequence of the sessions today. And you'll see that we start with an overview and then move into some specific functions within the publishing workflow as we try and follow that through more or less sequentially. Now, I've been working in publishing for quite a few years and have seen a number of technology evolutions and revolutions over the last several decades. And when I think about AI, the challenge becomes how to contextualize it within the other revolutions that I've seen. And the particular aspect on this one is a starting point, which is very non-scientific. This one feels different. And to say that it feels different is not to give much evidence to back up the importance of this technology. But for me, who's been working with this for a long time, just getting that feeling is really significant. But then going beyond that and trying to analyze why AI is so important to book publishing, a theme you'll be hearing about today is that AI is the current generative AI, this new generation that's burst upon us in the last year. It's based in words, it's based in language, and that's the raw material of the work that we do. And also what's so interesting about it is that it can emulate reasoning, that you can talk to these machines, let's call them machines, and you'll find in conversation, as you prompt them and as you continue the conversation, something resembling reasoning is going on, and it's fascinating. We've never seen anything like it before. And then from that sort of theoretical point, the next step for me was to get into the trenches a bit, and I found, gosh, it works. I can use it. I've been using it in editorial functions. I've been using it in marketing functions. I've been using it around production. And to see that the proof is in the pudding, that this thing that theoretically should work, it looks like it is working. You'll be hearing a lot more about that today. So when the technology comes in, what happens when a new tech arrives is that so often the initial response, you may have heard this before, is cautious. We naturally enough, we react with caution, and we tend to try and take the tools and incorporate them into the existing work we're doing. Over time, we want to find out, is it going to be transformative? And, if it's going to be transformative, in what form? We've seen that with the internet, we changed online reselling. With ebooks and audiobooks and the internet, we changed a whole series of formats in which books were delivered. And with desktop publishing, the internet, ebooks, self-publishing, blossomed from that. It became a vital part of the work that we do. What's the AI going to do? Well, let's keep an eye on that and see what happens today. Over to you, Peter.
Thanks, Thad. I'll just give very brief impressions from the Bay Area and try to give folks a sense of some of the technological milieu and environment that's happening out here. And it is just amazing. We're just 1 year on from the widespread release of the GPT models. And it already feels to many of us that AI is in its teenage years, but it's not. It really is a toddler. And this is one of the exciting things about AI right now, is that we're all learning. We're all on the cusp of discovery. We're all in a position of being able to make contributions. And from the desk that I sit at the university, and I look out across the campus, one of the things that is really obvious to me is that every software developer on the campus has touched AI. These were some of the very first tools that were released. And everybody who's in software engineering is already incorporating AI into their daily workflow. And it's quite a rapid adoption, and it's really interesting to see that. I think we've also seen things like the largest consulting companies beginning to open up their own branch services focused on AI. This is a clear signal of intent that this is an area of business focus. And we're certainly beginning to see a lot of interest on localization, on fine-tuning of data within industries. And we can see that emerging first in very focused domains like law or finance and business. And it's just beginning to ripple out now to other industries. And so it's a really exciting time for us to have this conference in publishing, so we can begin to explore what that might mean in the publishing industry itself. There's a lot of talk about AI, but I can assure you out here in the Bay Area and elsewhere across this country and in Europe and all over the world, there is a lot of coding taking place. And it's just not all of it is visible right now, but there are many, many startups, and they're very lean. And they are increasingly in media and in edutech and in other areas that are very much in our world. So we may not be seeing a lot of activity right now, but we will be. So it's really important for us to begin to understand what's happening right now. We're also beginning to see a lot of tools emerge for software developers, but also for people working in companies. And so, we look forward over time to being able to introduce those to you and, gain your insights as you gain experience with AI as well, because we will all be learning together. And just one other thing that I want to share, just anecdotally, in the Bay Area, we run a very active event listing for meetups, for fireside chats, for hackathons. And normally in this kind of technology innovation period, you might get a monthly listing and it might be relatively full, but you have no trouble picking out which ones you might want to attend or watch. But here, right now, those event listings are weekly, and those listings go on page after page after page. And every day, if you were so inclined, you'd have a hard time making choices. And it's really an exciting time. So we look forward to sharing some of this change with you and learning with you what its impact on our industry will be. That
Thanks a lot, Peter. That was a reminder. We're both in the Bay Area. I'm in San Francisco, and Peter's across the Bay in Berkeley. And so we see this close to every day, as he says, the events. I've been attending quite a few of them. It's fantastic to be at the epicenter. I want to give some thanks to the people who've made this program today possible. Lots of work going on behind the scenes at PW Publishers Weekly. Jim Milliot, Kevin Breyerman, Krista Raffanello, who's with us today with COVID and very bravely, Rachel Deal, Christy Cassidy, and Stacy Gill all played a big part in it. And a huge shout out to Rob Simon and Jeremy Brisky, the incredible team at Burst Marketing, because their support really on the technical side wouldn't have happened without them. Finally, some housekeeping before we begin, and I'll read this. You can see the full schedule for our sessions by clicking schedule on the event page or scrolling down. And all the live sessions will take place on stage, which you can access on the left navigation. Click the play button to view the program starting. Except for the one-person keynotes in the legal session, they're all panel discussions, mercifully PowerPoint free. There'll be roughly a 5-minute break between each one and then a 10-minute break halfway through. So there's a little time to catch our breath. Peter and I will each introduce a session, then turn it over to the panelists. We'll try and take some audience questions at the end of each session. There's about 1,000 people in attendance today, so needless to say, we won't get to all of them. But submit the questions. At the end of the event, Peter and I will collate them and answer them on my blog. Asking a question, just click the Q&A feature on the upper right-hand side of your screen, and you can post it there. Next to the Q&A, you'll see a chat function. You can use that to talk to other attendees. The event is being recorded and will be accessible exclusively to attendees. No need to record it on your own. The replay videos will be available in a day and for 30 days after the event. So you log back into this platform to watch any of the replays. The program is available with closed captioning, but you've got to use the Google Chrome browser to access the closed captioning. And a reminder that Publishers Weekly will not permit harassment of any kind during the program. Anyone not adhering to this policy will be asked to leave the conference. With that, we want to say, please enjoy the event. Peter, what's next?
What's next is we'll be pleased to bring you the opening remarks by Marcus Stolle. So stay tuned for just a sec. Hang tight, and we'll start the show. Thank you so much for joining us.